Okay, so here's a wide shot right here. Let me go over some of the heater hoses here. So basically there's one that comes out of the water pump down there. This one is 3/4. That's what that is. So that's 3/4, and I don't think it needs to be anything special. It can just be regular 3/4 line because there's no sharp turns in it or anything. And then down here there's a transition here because the heater core, both of those are 5/8. So those are 5/8 hoses, and what comes out of the water neck there, or sorry, the water pump, is 3/4. So you have to do a transition. You can get those in brass, you can get them in stainless, you can get them in, these are just some standard plastic unions that cost a couple bucks. And so the one from the water pump goes over to the top here, and the bottom one then comes out from the heater core. That is also 5/8. So these two are 5/8. And again, I have another transition there, but that's not a size transition. This is also 5/8. I think the previous owner, or maybe it was from the factory, that also came in 3/4. But I didn't see the point because what comes out of the water jacket for the intake manifold, those are both 5/8. So I'm just kind of keeping that 5/8. So it's coming out of the water jacket over here, 5/8 transition, and then into the bottom one of the heater core. And so that one on the back there is an elbow. You can kind of see it's just one piece. I didn't even have to cut it. I think I found that in AutoZone, or maybe it was Advanced Auto. Anyways, you can just get those. This happened to be a Duralast E8040. It's just an elbow there. I went into the back room, and they just had a bunch of random hoses hanging. So if you can't find something that has the right bend or curve or whatever, they may have a whole rack. Whatever auto parts store may have a whole rack of different various elbows and turns and S's and sizes and everything else. And I just kind of found that in there, and that worked out perfectly. I think it was 20 bucks or something, probably more than needed to spend, but 20 bucks. So that comes down there. So that goes into the intake manifold. See if I can get a good shot at this. Yep. As you can see, there's a little leak there. It's a little wet looking. And those are 3/8 fittings. So a 3/8 fitting into a 5/8 barb. 3/8 NPT, that is. Here's also the one over here. So this one on the front then goes, and this has kind of a weird curve. I think it's probably just an L pipe as well, but this one's been here so long that it looks like it's almost like a U-shaped. And that's coming from the water neck. And again, what's interesting here is that this is 3/4, and I didn't do a transition here. I just kind of squeezed the heck out of it. You can kind of see it's really cinched there. Let's see if I can get a close-up of that. It's really cinched, but I think it's working. Now, you probably see it's also wet there. And that's because I think I used stainless or a steel fitting, and it didn't flex into the threads there of the aluminum intake manifold. I also used, because I just did this, I just replaced those. I also used this aviation. This is supposed to be good thread sealant. It's what's supposed to be for, or one of the things it's supposed to be for. This is that number 3 Permatex. Maybe I didn't stir it up enough. I don't know. Just got some liquidy top, but I have the two there leaking. I also have these two, the little inserts here. Those have a little bit of wetness there, so I know there's a little bit of leaking there. So I'm actually going to replace the fittings, and I'm going to replace them with brass, because I feel like brass I can snug in there a little bit better. It's going to be Again, I like the barbs, the long barbs, because that gives you something for the pipe to go around. I think it's less likely to leak. I bought this, but I don't trust this before. I had bought this before. And there's just not enough for the, and it's probably perfectly fine, but for me, I'd rather have just more for it to go on to, because as soon as you put the clamp on there, it seems like it might be more likely to leak. So anyway, so I'm going with, this is 3/8 NPT into a 5/8 inch barb. So I'm going to actually put this. I bought two different sizes. Now this will fit in there because that's what's in there right now, and you can just cinch that down. But since I'm replacing these, I just went ahead and got the correct one. So I have this one for the back, so 3/8 NPT into a 5/8 barb, and then I also got a pair of these, and they were only like $6, so I wasn't too worried about it. I also got a pair of these. These are 3/8 NPT into a 3/4 barb, so it'll be the right size for that. And I'm not going to be using the Permatex. Again, this may be great stuff. A lot of people swear by it. Maybe it didn't stir it up enough, but I'm going to go ahead and use, and I forgot that I even had this actual thread sealant, high temperature. So I'm going to use this instead because that's what it's made for. I have an extra. I had bought kind of a set of these, and that's what I had done, those little brass plugs. They go in because there's a couple of them. There's 2 there. There's 1 underneath. I think there's 3 total on this side. But instead of making a ginormous mess and pulling this off and have antifreeze go everywhere, and this one over here too, because then it'll still be, the water neckles or the water jacket will still be filled up, and I'm going to be replacing these. I'm going to go ahead and I have a little funnel down there, and I'm going to try to see if this works. I'm just going to slowly loosen up one of these here and go ahead and drain the water jacket from the intake manifold. It should drain here and it should drain back there so that I can easily replace those without making a big mess. So let's see what happens. I'm just going to let that slowly drain out. Again, I'm trying to avoid a big mess. Alright, I got all the fittings out. I just put that there to... got all the fittings out. It was about a gallon of antifreeze because I forgot the radiator probably has to come down a ways down to this level here. So they are all out. I'm going to dry up the threads in there and go ahead and put the new fittings in. Again, I'm going to use the brass 3/8 and make sure I get them in the right sides. And this will go there, that bigger one, so that it's in a more appropriate fit to this hose here. This, I could squeeze this down, but I could tell when I pulled it off, it took a lot of torque to get that to keep from leaking, so I definitely recommend a 3/4 with a 3/8 NPT. Yeah, it's going to slide right in there. And then I'll replug these guys with the thread sealant. Alright, it's actually been a couple weeks later, and so far so good. I got no leaks anywhere around here or where the 2 fittings are in there, so that seemed to work pretty well, that sealant that I just showed. And then back there as well, right down here, everything's all good. And actually, while I'm here, I might as well just show the actual radiator hoses as well. So this is just, and I was able to go to Napa, and I didn't replace this time, but I had asked about it, and they have the upper radiator hose, and that's just coming out of, again, the other side of the water neck. And that's just 1.5 and 1.5. So that's a molded, I think. Yeah, I think that's molded there. There's a number on here. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but it's C133-49602. So that's the number that's on there. There's also a lower radiator hose. It's a little hard to see, but this goes in from the bottom of the water pump. So this is the water pump right here. And for some reason, that is 1 3/4. You may not be able to see it very well, but it actually expands right up here. So this expands out. Again, this is 1 3/4, and it goes down there, and that's 1.5. It's really just an elbow molded fitting right there, but again, that's the lower radiator hose. Again, this is my 81 CJ7 with a 258. I'm not sure how much of that is relevant for the radiator hoses, but these fit just fine. So that's all the coolant hoses there. And as you can see, I'm working on the valve train right now. This is after rebuild. I'm trying to sort out some issues, but then I'll be posting a number of different rebuild videos. I already have, I think it's 8 different tear down of the 258 videos step by step, and I have a series of videos on the rebuild. I'm just trying to work out a kink after the rebuild, and then I'll go ahead and probably start posting all those in another series.